Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Hello, everybody. My name is Holger Prohl. I'm a market manager at Mettler Toledo, Pharma Control Electronic, PCE. I really would have liked to all of you in person at the Interpack show, having the opportunity of speaking with you directly on our booth and discussing your opinions and answering your questions. Unfortunately, we all know that this isn't going to happen this year. Anyway, let me welcome you to my virtual presentation and my real home office. Meanwhile, we know thousands of home offices from people all over the world caused by this unprecedented crisis. But we all know every crisis gives new chances and challenges. So let's make the best out of it, and please enjoy my little tour through the new European Medical Devices Regulation, which is my topic today.
First, what is it? What can I tell you, and what can you expect as a takeaway from my presentation? PCE's core competence is track and trace in the pharma business. While helping our customers in the past, and even today, to implement similar regulations like the EU FMD into their production world, we have learned a lot about hidden obstacles lurking around when starting projects which look simple at the first glance, but all of a sudden turn into big chunks of heavy work and then create 10 more hurdles after having one obstacle mastered. For track and trace for pharmaceutical products, it seemed to be an easy job. Just print the serial number and some additional information on every pharma package, do a little bit of reporting to country officials, done. 10 years ago, we sat in front of our customers, mostly production line managers, and discussed the steps necessary to fulfill these new requirements. But soon it became clear that not only production lines and reporting tools are affected. It turned out that the whole production process must be reviewed. Many different departments must be involved, beginning from artwork for package design, IT, logistics. Global teams had to be created, and finally all such projects needed top management stakeholders to drive these major changes to a success. Personally, I'm highly confident that we will see the same effects while implementing the new EU Medical Devices Regulations. And that's why I'm here to share my thoughts with you and enable you to find an answer, whether you are ready for the MDR or not. Quick look back. The poly-implant prothese scandal, also called as PIP scandal, around 2010, which ended in more than 30,000 women with PIP implants seeking removal of the implants as a precaution, and Mr. Jean-Claude Masse, the founder of PIP, was sent to prison for 4 years. Finally, in May 25, 2017, the new Medical Devices Regulation, also called as MDR, was published and in force, with a 3-year transition period for manufacturers' compliance. The result is a full regulatory overhaul of the medical devices world, with the goals of providing high levels of safety and restoring public confidence in manufacturers and authorities. This big new regulatory framework around the medical devices industry, often called as MDR, actually includes 2 regulations. First, the EU MDR 2017-745 and the EU IVDR in vitro medical devices regulation 2017-746. What are the key points of the EU MDR? The regulation is now extended to scope cosmetic and aesthetic devices too. Stringent requirements for compliance for manufacturers to ensure patient safety. There must be a national registry where all manufacturers have to register themselves, and a database where the devices they put on the market must be registered in a detailed manner to guarantee its traceability through unique device identification, also called as UDI. By the way, there's a ban on aggressive marketing and so-called BOGO offers, which means buy one, get one free, and also so-called mother-daughter deals. There are improved training and qualification standards, especially for cosmetic surgery providers. After all, responsibility and visibility of manufacturers, vendors, dealers, even all economic operators in this realm is drastically increased. The EU currently establishes a portal where manufacturers are required to report serious events and hence corrective actions to reduce the risk of recurrence of these kind of incidents. There shall be greater transparency along the whole supply chain of medical devices. The already existing institution of notified bodies will be empowered by more rights and responsibilities to fulfill their task to monitor the medical devices market. Furthermore, all legacy and future medical devices undergo a new evaluation with regard to their risk classification, which in turn leads to more efforts on the manufacturer side for planning, production, quality assurance, documentation, and even logistics to bring the products to markets. Actually, these requirements will not allow grandfathering of previously approved products, but device manufacturers must re-evaluate their entire product portfolio in close cooperation with health institutions, clinics, take surgery reports and clinical safety requirements into account too, to ensure compliance across the whole life cycle of their products. This, of course, impacts every aspect of their organization, beginning from research and development to manufacturing, quality assurance and documentation, and finally marketing. Clinical data must be taken into account while certifying devices, and data from post-market surveillance shall go into it to provide final safety and effective oversight for the life cycle of a product or device. Now we are at the point where it starts to become complex. That's why there are many understandable concerns about how this will impact vendors and manufacturers. And having said this, there are still many unknowns waiting. The so-called UDAMID project consists of some basic building blocks, which are more or less interlinked and cannot really be considered as standalone work packages. It starts with device master data management, data submission to authorities, and maybe multiple databases in-house at the manufacturer, its dealers, business partners, and finally the UDAMID database itself, and ends with a need for professional project and even change management to implement every new step into the organization. Then comes the need for full digitalization of all processes to feed the information hunger and keep data records and archives for later retrieval in case of any kind of incidents or authority inquiries. Although data requirements seem to be easy to handle, it turns out to be complex too. Vendors and manufacturers must choose between different options to feed data into different channels or media to corresponding targets. It could be done the hard way, through manual input on the UDAMID website, which will be rather painful and time-consuming. Or there are, or will be, cloud-based services and service providers, which needs IT preparations before, and, of course, there will be golden ways through outsourced providers to do the job for vendors and manufacturers which can afford it. All ways have in common that vendors and manufacturers must structure their data in proper formats and integrate any existing data management systems into the desired interfaces of any chosen way to stay data compliant. Not every vendor and manufacturer are already fully on the digital path. As we all see these days, COVID-19 gives a big push to improve it. One clear sign of that is the virtual presentation, and you watching it in front of a computer instead of being on the Interpack trade show in real life. Some consequences are the need to install a document management system and some vehicle to keep all the new data related to UDI marking, and maybe installing new production techniques to verify and report production data. Another tool will be a label management system to fulfill additional labeling requirements. These details are not part of my presentation, but coming with the MDR for more information on every label placed on the medical devices. This is the old timeline at a glance. As many of you know, COVID-19 is at home here too. The European Commission decided, under pressure of vendors, manufacturers, and their stakeholder organization, to postpone the actual application from May 26 this year, 2020, to May 26 next year, 2021. The already postponed go live of their corresponding database from this year to 2021. Both facts seem to be a relief of pressure for vendors and manufacturers of medical devices. So what? Time to celebrate? Lay back and relax? Time enough? Wait and postpone your own projects too? Some of you will, of course, know these slides, issued by the European UDI Commission, describing just the data needs for MDR basic UDI data, often called as booty. And there's another one. And another one. It depends on the way you count. There are minimum 35 data fields, and finally, up to 180 different tiny or big pieces of information to be acquired and delivered to European database. So the answer is no, there's no time left. If not already started, do it now. Get stakeholders on board, involve business sponsors if need be, define somebody as project champion, get very familiar with all details of MDR and IVDR, develop your dedicated overall plan to implement the project, get in touch with your notified body as soon as possible, since the UNAVET actor registration shall start no later than March 2021, following with UNAVET database module for notified bodies and certificates in May 2021. These are the major steps to be performed as soon as possible. Get clear about your master data management. Develop an idea of how to exchange data inside your CMO and OEM network if need be. Start to create or change your internal processes and SOPs. Create a strategy on how to submit your device data to UNAVET database. Keep in mind that legacy devices could need recertification due to change in risk class evaluation. Install a future-proof quality management system to be compliant in case of any incidents. Keep in mind that data gathering from your business partners, CMOs or OEMs may take, from our experience with track and trace projects, up to a full year. Implementation of a database may take from 2 and up to 6 months, even with the help of an established vendor. Finally, take it as a serious project, which requires supervision by management or even a dedicated program management. It is definitely not a short-term project. Don't be scared. I will not read through all these bullet points, but here's a compressed overview on how to proceed or even start your MDR project. Basic project phases cannot be omitted. Start to prepare, if not done already, and proceed via analyzing to implementation and finally have a smooth and successful launch to go live. And that's it. If any questions come up, or if you need any further advice, information, whatever, just get in touch with us or contact me directly. Thank you very much for participating. You can find me on Crossing or LinkedIn, or send me an email for any questions. Stay healthy, and I look forward to seeing you soon somewhere in real life. Goodbye.